At Global Fintech Fest 2025, Mastercard spotlighted innovations that make every transaction safe, smart, and seamless.
Hi, we're at the Global Fintech Fest 2025 and I'm in conversation with Gautam Aggarwal. He's the President South Asia for Mastercard.
Thank you for having me.
Gautam, I'm told that there are 3 lakh people attending this festival, and that's pretty incredible for a fintech festival. But what's even more impressive is, according to my research, India made 20 billion UPI payments in the month of August. Does this mean that India has definitely overcome the digital adoption barrier?
Absolutely not, actually. 20 billion, I think is a small number. But given the population, the scale of this country, it's a very small number. About 900 million people are in the Indian ecosystem who are part of the ecosystem spending money every day, of which only 350 are active on UPI. 550 odd million people in India
Don't use UPI.
that are either on UPI but you don't use it,
Okay.
or don't have UPI. And so these 350 million active users are the ones that are generating 20 billion transactions. Imagine when we get the other 550 million people on the system as well, it'll be a lot more.
It'll be a multiple
of
this.
It'll be a lot
number.
more. And I think my personal take is we are still touching the tip of the iceberg in India as far as digital payments is concerned.
Tell us more. What else is there in terms of digital payments?
Firstly, when you go around tier 1, tier 2 cities, you see a lot of people doing UPI transactions, but there's still a lot of people who are relying on cash. When I say UPI, I mean digital payments. People are doing cards, UPI, everything out there, right? I was recently in Amritsar about 3-4 months ago, and I went around Amritsar, wanted my kids to see around Amritsar. A lot of people still want to use cash in parts of India. Go to the villages, go a little bit more interior. I happen to be in a village in Gurdaspur, right, which is my ancestor family is. Nobody accepts UPI, nobody uses UPI, nobody uses their cards there, right? Now that's in India that we have not seen, right? In many places, they don't even have proper internet access on their phones. Their phones are feature phones, they're not smartphones like you and I are used to using. They are not using digital payments today. So for me, the 20 billion number, I don't know what the latest number is. I know annual number is about 160 billion, 170 billion transactions.
August alone, it was
August alone, that's a number.
Yeah.
I still feel we have a long way to go. There's a lot more to digitize. There are flows that have not been digitized. You go to schools, you go to school fees, you go to many other flows. There are still people using cash, check, demand drafts. Now, people will argue demand draft checks are all digitization. They are better than cash, but they're not true digitization as we've seen through UPI or through cards or through any other form factor. So I think there's a lot more to be done.
So Gautam, clearly you're identifying smartphone penetration as one of the factors that will drive the digital payment ecosystem. What are some of the other factors that will drive it to this force multiplier that you're saying?
So I think smartphone is another. I think the word is we have to get more inclusive in driving digital payments. Smartphones is one way. Enabling digital payments on feature phones might be another way.
Okay.
Right? Making sure that use cases that have not been digitized. What are the reasons for those use cases not being digitized? Why is a parent, when they're paying a school fees today, not using digital payments? And find a way to digitize that, right? Create a model, whether it's an incentive model or an attraction model for consumers. I use the word merchants, but merchants mean anybody who's a recipient of payment in this case, right? Make it attractive for them to say, you know what, why aren't you using digital payments? The future I want to see in India is when you go use something that is not a UPI or a card, the recipient of money says, UPI nahi hai kya, card nahi hai kya? That would be the end goal that all of us in this forum exhibiting the companies should be striving towards.
Will tap and go be one of those technologies?
Absolutely. QR is one. Tap and go is another. AI, agentic commerce will be another one. When we used to see movies growing up as kids, right? And let's say somebody was cooking food in a village. They would have a process where somebody would go from the household to go get some lakdi or some coal, right? And then that will come. And it had to be dry coal, dry lakdi. Then somebody had to light the fire on it. And then phuk maar ke usko, they had to light it up, right? The process of firing up your chula was as complicated as the process of cooking. What is happening today? There's a gas, you turn it on, that's it. We need to get to that stage where everybody who's right now still doing the chula activity the way I just described it in payments, we need to get them to the point where technology will enable them to not think about payments. So payment has to become almost part of a subconscious. So tap and go will enable it. Why will it enable it? If you go through turnstiles at metro stations today, there's a bit of a pause when you have to, use your card or whatever. But if you have tap and go, you go tap and go. You tap and go. It's well adopted globally in the world. It's very secure. In fact, because of tokenization that RBI drove, only country in the world today where online transactions are 100% tokenized, only country in the world which is pushing for offline transactions, in-person transactions to be also fully tokenized, in such an environment, it's a very progressive regulator we have here. We need to make sure that we take advantage of that progressive regulator. We have a lot of innovation that is going on. Again, look around in the room, there are companies that I've never heard of, and they're doing some unique innovation. Bring those innovators along and bring some education. I think there's a lot of education that needs to be done, both from a consumer, right? Contactless payments, digital payments at large are safe to, transact with. Because there is still, in the villages, there's still some concern. This digital, money is, I can easily lose it, somebody can steal that money. All of that put together, once that happens, I think we are going to see a very different India in what's we
So Gautam, QR codes and UPI payments have clearly changed consumer behavior in India. Tell us a little bit about how you think tap and go will change the next wave of consumer behavior.
So I think we are already seeing wearables, right? So a lot of people are wearing rings today. A lot of people are wearing watches today. Tap and go is a loose term for anything that will allow you to pay for anything using contactless, right? Now imagine today contactless is being talked about in the context of a card or a wallet on a phone. Imagine now you are wearing things in your body. Doesn't have to be a ring, doesn't have to be
it can be lined into my jacket, right?
It could be actually in anywhere. And you walk in through a store and you walk out with stuff that you want. I can see a scenario where you're carrying your groceries from a smart store, come out with the groceries and it's already paid for. You don't have to think about it. That is what contactless and tap and go will allow you to do. So what you are seeing right now is still something that is not in the subconscious. It's still consciously. You are still going to make a conscious effort to pay.
To enter a code and
to pay. What this will enable is that subconscious activity where you will actually not even do. It's like, when you're walking, you're breathing air. You're not going through the process of breathing, you're just breathing it. That's how payments will happen.
So Gautam, you're an incredibly innovative company at Mastercard and you employ some of the best innovators in the world. But consumers may not be able to catch up with their innovation. They need to be able to both understand and trust all these novel forms of payment built into rings and payment built into my phone and payment built into my jacket. How do you balance these two? You're capable of the innovation, but is the world ready for it?
Yes, so I think this requires a little bit of a joint initiative. This is where I think India has done it uniquely. I don't think no one entity or no one entity group can make it happen. It's when the ecosystem comes together. For this to happen, you need a very progressive regulator, a regulator that is actually pushing your boundaries and promoting this. Thankfully, we have one in India.
We seem to have a very good regulator.
We have a very good regulator.
With a sandbox and everything else for you to experiment
One of the most advanced regulator when it comes to thinking in digital payments largely in the world. Then you need a collaborative environment. We are already seeing that. Today, we use a word in our company, we use a word called cooperation. Pretty much every company that you're looking around here, we are competing with them in some form as Mastercard. But we are also cooperating with them in some form and they're partners of. We are launching roughly about 30 launches at this GFF. And pretty much all those 30 launches are with somebody who we are also competing with in some other form. I call it as a cooperative ecosystem, right? Where you compete, you cooperate. You compete, you cooperate. Number 3, of course, we have to stay in the forefront of innovation. We can't be innovating on the periphery. We have to start getting deeper. The AI models, we should be getting into the world of AI models, agentic commerce. We have to stay ahead on that. So all of that is what the ecosystem will be. But then, of course,
consumers may recoil a bit.
Consumers, there is a huge element of education. I think just because we are promoting something, 10 rupees off, if you do 100 rupee transaction, that won't make the cut. That's not enough. I think you have to provide users the comfort. You have to make sure that they understand the safety of digital payments. They understand that their purchase is sort of protected. They understand that the data that is coming out of this, transaction is not being used against them, if anything. I just came out of a meeting with the RBIH. We were just talking about this only. How do we make sure the consumer is comfortable that when they are transacting in the digital world, I'm not saying digital payments, right? I'm saying when they're interacting, not even transacting, when they're interacting in the digital world with other people who are interacting in the digital world or with agents or with machines and bots, that they are comfortable at the same degree. They don't think, oh, this guy is actually not a human being, I'm not comfortable. This is a human being, I'm more comfortable. This is a human being from my country, I'm more comfortable. That disparity has to go away. And I think that is what we have to achieve with the consumers.
Gautam, final question for you. Mastercard's role in this journey towards Viksit Bharat, how do you see that shaping up?
Incredible. We've been in this country for almost 45 years now. And I always tell people that people don't realize that in these 45 years, we have done a lot of work to promote digital payments. Keep in mind, we didn't have a regulator at that time that was necessarily standing behind that in the way it is standing today. We didn't have a government that was standing behind it in a way that is standing today. And we didn't have the innovators that we have today in the country. So we sowed the seeds of what I think is happening today in the world, in the country. The future lies in us making sure that we do that partnership both locally. I go back to that slogan that I said, right? Regional aspirational, global ambition. So we in this country have already invested over the last 10 years, I can say more than $1 billion, of money. We have 10,000 people in the country doing innovation. It's the largest employer base for us anywhere in the world today. It's more than the US. And that's precisely because we feel that Mastercard cannot be left behind in this journey, and Mastercard should not be left behind, but it should be part of the journey to make India great.
All right, Gautam Aggarwal, thank you very much for talking to us, and thank you for watching.